team. So just before we begin our presentations, I wanted to briefly share our thoughts behind today's entrepreneurship theme. As many of you know, most GEC projects provided girls with some sort of entrepreneurship training and/or supported them to move into viable and safe workplaces. Business and entrepreneurship was especially a key feature for many LNGB projects, which were working with an older set of girls. In any case, the idea behind entrepreneurship has been to empower women and girls so that they can bring meaningful improvements to their household situations as well as contribute back to their communities. However, this journey hasn't been straightforward, and there have been some mixed results, with some successes as well as some challenges. All in all, there's a lot to be learned, and that's what brings us to today's roundtable theme. Next slide, please. So we've invited 3 speakers to share their lessons around delivering and tracking entrepreneurship activities. These lessons can be used in current programming as well as future programming. We will first start with Street Business School, who will provide their perspective from a nonprofit lens and is also independent to the GEC. We will then move to 2 GEC projects to hear their stories and lessons on this space. So those will be from Link Education Malawi and People in Need Nepal. And lastly, just to keep us all on track, I ask that you please put your questions in the chat box and we'll address them all at one time at the end of the session. So without further ado, I'll hand over to Chris Harper from Street Business School to kick off our presentations.
Thanks so much for the introduction, and thanks for inviting us to share a short, pretty high-level look at Street Business School. I'm Chris Harper. I'm the Director of Global Training at Street Business School. Please allow me to begin my chat by doing just a really quick activity to bring us all in the same place when we think about entrepreneurship and the potential transformation. So I would ask each of you just to quickly think about your own monthly income. Whatever comes in is deposited into your bank or the paycheck, however you receive it. Your net income, just think in your head about your own monthly net income. Not going to ask you to share. That's good news. So you don't need to worry about that. Now, do me a favor again in your head. I guess you could put it on paper if you want. Multiply that monthly income by 3. Get that figure in your head. Everybody got that? Great. Thank you. Now, if I were literally to just walk up to you, if we weren't here online and I could walk up to you and hand you that amount of money in whatever your currency is, if I could just hand you that amount of money, your monthly income times 3, and I just gifted it to you, I want you to think about what would you do with it? What is something you do for yourself, your family, your friends, something very specific? I would save it for, or I would spend it and I would take a vacation. I would buy new furniture. I would have a party for my family. Just want you to think about really, truly specifically, what would you do if I just handed you that amount of money? Do I have any nice volunteers who might be willing to share what you thought about that you would do if I gave you that amount of money? Anybody?
I can say school fees.
Perfect. Perfect. You're going to help yourself and your kids. And I think we all think what's most important to us and what a gift that would be. Now, let me ask you to think about this. What if you had that much money every single month, that much additional money every single month for the rest of your life? How would that transform your life? Think about that for a quick minute. I think that would be meaningful to all of us. And by the way, my colleague, Nicole, don't ask for a raise. I see her mind working already.
I'm just nodding along. It's an interesting concept.
So let's all think about this. If a triple in your income would transform your life, what do you think it would do for the people that you serve? Well, at Street Business School, we've created a practical, hands-on business training, very practical, that in fact has been proven to triple the income of the graduates of our training, to bring them out of poverty for good. So for those of you who might not be familiar, Street Business School is a nonprofit that amplifies the impact of other organizations like yours by equipping them with that very award-winning poverty eradication business training. Of course, we all know that poverty magnifies other systemic issues, childhood neglect, education, health, etc. And as a global capacity building organization, our entrepreneurship training is designed to mitigate this magnification. So when we look at this slide, you can see SBS supports, we call ourselves SBS for Street Business School. We support our partners' missions in two ways. One directly, as you can see in this slide, and I'll talk about in a minute, and the other is indirectly. So how does that happen? So Street Business School's entrepreneurship program supports directly the mission of our partners in a few ways. One is, as you can see on the slide, increasing beneficiaries' income positively can contribute to the mission of the organization. I'm going to give you an example. We have an organization whose mission is to stop deforestation. They quickly connected the dots and realized that if they were, in fact, to add entrepreneurship to their programming through SBS, then people would have income and not have to go and deforest. Secondarily, in another direct way we support the missions of our partners is because Street Business School's entrepreneurship program does not give handouts, cash handouts, rather we give knowledge for life, we can decrease the expenses of our partners, of our partner organizations, such that then they can spend additional money on their other programming. So that's how we can directly impact, and generally how entrepreneurship can impact an organization. Indirectly, our entrepreneurship program benefits the missions of our partners through what we call a multiplier effect. I'll give you some examples. The first way is by supporting the other programs that they have. So for example, we have a partner that they pursue a number of SDGs. One of the things they concentrate on is health, and they have people who volunteer, as health support in the community. But because they're volunteers, they're generally, frankly, looking for other jobs. And then they leave when they get other jobs, and then the organization has to spend money and retrain them to go out into the community. And so they were already partnered with Street Business School, and they were training their beneficiaries on their ground. And they realized that if they trained these volunteers as well, then the volunteers could start their own entrepreneurship job, create their own income. And then they could remain as volunteers in their off hours. In this way, then, this program allowed that partner to not have to continue to expend money to create new volunteers, train new volunteers, turn them over, find them. We have another partner that is an education-based partner. And in their case, they began to say, we're going to take the parents of the kids that we're educating. We're going to train them on Street Business School so they can start a business. And as soon as they have a steady income, a reliable and steady income, then we're going to start charging them for whatever support items this partner would have otherwise provided, let's say books or uniforms or this sort of thing. The parents are proud, they're willing to pay that. And what this allows this partner to do is it allows them to then educate more children. So again, this is an indirect support of other programs. Another indirect support of other programs is a number of our partners have found that by using our custom M&E tool, which actually is highly robust and highly credible, goes right down to the beneficiary themselves, that level, then when they're looking for funding, they're providing good information, credible information, deep information that helps them increase their fundraising. So those are the ways that we can benefit. Let's talk for a minute about where we are around the world and how we do what we do, and give some perspective then as we look at how can all entrepreneurship programs work, what's different, what's the same, all these sorts of things. You can see on this map that we have partners around the globe. We have over 250 partner organizations in 34 countries. So maybe self-evident, but I'll say out loud, just so that you know, our curriculum was originally built and is built to cross all geographies, cultures, genders, ages, et cetera, et cetera. Because we're a global organization, we necessarily had to build our curriculum that way to accommodate. Now, I'll also say secondarily Given that we have partners around the world, we also allow and encourage them to adapt, to customize, to localize as they see fit, because they're the experts in the field. We recognize that we are not the experts in the field in all of the world. We cannot be. We're experts in entrepreneurship. And so we allow for localization and customization. We encourage it. And some do customize and localize, and some do not. Some say the curriculum was built to cross and they just take it as is. We partner with organizations in a few ways. Generally, at a high level, I'm going to talk about three quickly. We train other organizations how to train our curriculum using a cascading model. So they want something like a master trainer, who will train trainers, who will then train beneficiaries, and we train them at that highest master trainer level. We also train organizations at a non-cascading level. What I mean by that is they train trainers to train beneficiaries. So they're not looking for that master level training. And/or we consult with organizations to either build an original entrepreneurship program for them or to improve what they have. In other words, they have an entrepreneurship program. They're looking to improve something with regards to their results, and we'll come in and customize how could we improve, add, subtract, change the, add some of our models or change the sequence, these sorts of things. So we partner with folks in a way that best suits their needs. Once we're partners, then they're accepted into our global network. And we have a very active partner network where we really focus on non-SBS curriculum items, things like change management and partner pitching and funding opportunities, this sort of thing. I want to show you our results because, of course, who cares what we do unless it works? And we have been pleased with our results. As you can see, for those folks that graduate the Street Business School program, they have a triple in their income, which is why I said triple, at about the 2-year mark. Our partners actually with their direct implementation have found that at about the 1-year mark, they do a little more than a double in income. So you can see that's a nice exponential curve and it makes sense and it follows. You can see on this equation for success, this is kind of what I would consider our model. This is a Chris Harper model. You'll see it in only a few places, but this comes from my head as the director of global training. Sustainability, which is so critical to us, equals engaging business training plus self-confidence building plus graduation. And if you look at how we deliver that in 6 to 8 modules, depending on the partner, delivered approximately over 6 months. And the trainings, each of those modules are about 2 to 3 hours each. And we also include 3 coaching visits. Then we have a graduation event. So that gives you an idea of what our actual delivery model looks like. So let me talk a little bit about our specific training methodology that supports that equation that creates that impact. I think that is what generically will be helpful for everybody. So as you can see on this slide, these are pictures from our trainings. This is not a rote learning. It's an experiential learning. We've designed our unique trainer and beneficiary curriculums primarily on 3 foundations. The first foundation that we use when we design any of our curriculums, but certainly our Train the Trainer and our beneficiary curriculum, is just common successful learning practices. So things like the room setting, the mental preparation, the physical engagement, what's the logical learning presentation flow for any training, certainly to include entrepreneurship, that logical presentation flow, why, what, how, when. The second foundation that our curriculums are based on and designed around is the Ebbinghaus forgetting curve. Some of you might be aware of that. The Ebbinghaus forgetting curve. This is a long-standing study of the forgetting process. It was studied and created in the 1800s by Hermann Ebbinghaus, and it's been restudied over the years, by the way. And you can see that this curve demonstrates a declining rate at which information is lost if no particular effort is made to remember it. And it's quite a decline. So Ebbinghaus was the first psychologist who systematically studied memory and learning. And he was the early discovery of 2 things, the patterns of forgetting and the rate of forgetting. You can see that he found that it's exponential, starting off really steeply. The forgetting is really steep at first. meaning that the amount of retained knowledge drops dramatically soon after we get in new information. Like, if you look at the curve itself, you can see, I hope these numbers, but I'll let you know what they say specifically. What he found was that 40% of information that we have learned, we lose after only 20 minutes. And about 70% of what we've learned after just a day or two is gone. Yikes, think about that as it relates to all of our trainings and all of the things that we provide in the world, all of us collectively. So for example, if I were to ask each of you to name the components of our equation for success and how many countries we're in and how many partners we have, and any other details I've already mentioned, experience tells me that very few of us could actually do that because of this forgetting curve. And I just shared them, minutes ago. Good news is, luckily, you can see on this curve that there is a point where the forgetting does start to decline at a slower pace. This is when we can absorb the essential details and store it in our long-term memory. Again, our trainer of trainer and beneficiary curriculums are built to overcome this curve. We're very aware of it. We're radar focused on this curve. And we don't have time to go into how do you overcome this curve with all of the details that we use and that he suggests and tells us about pace and rate. But suffice to say, it is the second foundation upon which we build all of our curriculum. The third foundation is our own best practice findings about how to make a concept meaningful and what I call in the gut. When I mentioned a few minutes ago our model, you know that I mentioned sustainability equals our program. Sustainability is critical to us because those that are trained in the Street Business School, at least by design, graduate out. So when the intervention is done, we really care a lot about whether that information is sustained to the benefit of that final beneficiary or the trainer of trainers so that they can continue to train beneficiaries. That's very, very, very important to us. So getting in the gut is a bit of our secret sauce, I guess I would say, and a particularly unique expertise that we have. When we talk about market research, for example, in our trainings, we do that through treasure hunts. When we talk about bookkeeping, we do that through train tracks and talking about 100% tracking. So this little, what seems like a throw-in, this third foundation is actually what we hear the most comments on from our partners about the uniqueness of the curriculum, and the same with the beneficiaries, because they're engaged, they're active, and this is what helps get it in the gut. They'll never remember, the beneficiaries nor those that we train, everything that we say. It's impossible. They're never even going to remember what all of their notes are, but they will remember these in the gut activities. And they'll then take away with them what they need for the concept. After we train our partners on the program that I've just described, of course, our partners want to know, is it working? What are the impact figures? So that they can share with their donors, board, media, all the stakeholders that we all know would like to know if our work is happening as it should be. So this is just a sample of our mobile-based M&E tool. We have our own internal customized, rather robust tool that our partners can use. Some choose to, some don't. They have maybe their own M&E system. And this just gives you really a high-level look at the impact results sample of one of our partners that they then can export, put into their annual reports, give to the media, whatever it might be. So, we go from the beginning of why do we do what we do? What do we do? How well does it work? And then how is it that we have the ability to share with others so that we can understand how it's impacting those that we serve? So that is a very quick and highlighted overview of Street Business School. And I look forward to hearing from you all about your own experience in the remainder of the call. Thanks again for inviting us. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Chris and Nicole, for a very thought-provoking presentation. Super. So if I may request, if you could please type in your questions in the chat box, and we'll get to those at the end of all the presentations. But I would like to call our next presenter, Harold Kumbola from Link Education, Malawi.
Hello, hi everyone. I'll be sharing with you some more on a practical experience from our project, the Team Girl Malawi project, Transformational Empowerment for Adolescent Marginalized Girls project. We'll be looking at how we approached entrepreneurship component and key lessons that we have had in there. Can I just check that you can hear me?
Yes, well and good.
All right. Okay, great. Thanks so much. So I also switched on my video just briefly, but I will turn it off just to save on the bandwidth as I proceed to present. So next slide, please. So just to start us off, I want to just share with you just a brief background around how we implemented the Team Girl Malawi approach as a project. It was really a partnership approach with various local partners. Link was delivering complementary basic education, which looked at providing functional literacy and numeracy to adolescent marginalized learners, learners from different marginalities and low backgrounds. And that was the targeted beneficiaries for our project. We had a partner, Theatre for a Change, which was looking at supporting SRHR, sexual reproductive health and rights, but also social-emotional learning, really understanding how decision-making is key towards a person's life, including in entrepreneurship, vocational skills training, and how SRHR knowledge impacts their achievement towards various goals. And specifically for entrepreneurship, we had Kimo Microfinance Limited, which was a partner delivering entrepreneurship and vocational training. We had Supreme. So looking at transformational empowerment, income generating capacity of adolescent learners as they graduate from complementary basic education and SEL, social emotional learning. Data was key and part of our ongoing processes, and we had CGA as a partner managing that. So all this framed within ministry, Malawi government policy framework, and supported through the GEC. Next slide, please. And then when we look at the overview in terms of how all this has gone, we have reached to 6,300 adolescent girls and boys from 105 communities over the 5 years, 2018 to 2023. One of our key adaptations was around entrepreneurship and delivering a CBE project for learners with various marginalities, including learning difficulties and disabilities. So 12% of our learners were learners with various disabilities. So in summary, our project looked at providing functional literacy and numeracy, supporting learners to acquire skills, enabling them to transform and earn an income, transforming their lives. Next slide, please. And just summarizing our quick, next slide. Our quick results that we have seen learners acquiring functional literacy and numeracy, but also gaining sexual reproductive health and rights. The figures that we are presenting there, the increases in numeracy, we have seen a 33% increase and literacy 45% increase. These are key skills as they moved on to entrepreneurial skills and vocational skills so that they are able to read and write, but also make the right decisions, but also being able to achieve learning gains. The key in the project was also around how communities supported and enabled rallying behind learners' achievements in the CBE program, but also just the understanding that acquiring these skills is key for a long-lasting positive effect on the life of the learner, but also within their communities. Next slide, please. The overview in which our entrepreneurship program was delivered was that as learners stayed for 2 years in a CPE class, some moved to primary school, and we are presenting the percentages there in the left hand side. For cohort 1, cohort 2, and cohort 3, we have had 3 cohorts. Others moved into vocational training, and then there were specifically others who moved into entrepreneurship, which turned out to be, for cohort 1 and cohort 2, the preferred choice. For cohort 3, it was only a limited choice for them, but that's majority of our learners moved between vocational training and entrepreneurship. Next slide, please. Our approach to entrepreneurship was firstly around understanding the context and the background in which we were working for our learners, which involved doing a market feasibility, a scoping analysis. What should we do? Where should we get to intervene, and what works? What were the gaps? So we moved in to do that quick review, feasibility studies in the geographical localities we were working in. The idea was to develop trades or needs that best suits the nature of the environments where we were working in, but also to match the skills and abilities of our learners, because these were learners from really marginalities and needed to really be tailor-made to suit their needs and their local contexts. And then a curriculum developed through our partners, both within the entrepreneurial section, but also within the vocational skills section. So developed really building in the needs, contexts, visions of the learners and their communities, but also looking at what synergies are there. This curriculum was then trained, learners going through the curriculum, undergoing training, identifying local trainers, and then implementing the curriculum. But key to it was also around the adaptive framework in which we applied the trainings and support, really looking into applying an adaptive management approach. So going in to continuously source feedback, review the feedback, look at how the trainings are progressing, redevelop, redesign strategies that can support effective delivery of the curriculum, effective acquisition of knowledge, and re-strategize, change a few things as you are implementing to accommodate really progress around each training. And then alongside that was around data and decision making through being informed with the data, conducting assessments, conducting reviews, market feasibilities, continually designing, just to support that the whole entrepreneurial project is being cast in a framework that's delivering sustainable change amongst trainers. But key to it was also really developing an exit strategy from the beginning. So can we go to the next slide, please? So our sustainability approach around entrepreneurship was looking at access to mentorship. So understanding that when someone has gone through a 3 months, 6 months training, they would need to have practical skills and they'll need a mentor, even if they are to start on small scale business, venturing into what they are passionate about. They needed a mentor to support them. So peer support was one of the key things then built in there, but also around the community overseer, community support, running behind the learner to kind of support them. So this could be when they were designed in groups, village savings and loans groups or tailoring groups, you would have a community overseer who would support them, just looking at conflict resolution, leadership, and management. But this overseer is really around a guide and a mentor to learners or upcoming new entrepreneurs in communities. But also another issue around access to financing and equipment. So leader in a context of low capital, how do they get their capital to start off? So both the project, but also linkages with external service providers, supporting learners to really acquire the initial savings they could use as capital for their products. It's another key element to be building entrepreneurial skills. The other part around sustainability was access to business opportunities. So how do we ensure that knowledge and practical skills to really produce an item that can compete on the market, but also how are they exposed to market their products? So part of the inbuilt training, but also mentorship, key to withstand entrepreneurial skills, businesses, upcoming businesses in a community. So it's both going in practice that, but coming back to discuss with peer mentors, coming back to discuss with a group, and then looking at how do they build a business model or entrepreneurial skills that can withstand. But also another key thing in our context is around seasonality of businesses and other market dynamics that could come in, balancing a need between daily survival, but business sustainability and continuity in lean periods as another key. So preparing learners with all these access to various business opportunities and diversified business opportunities within various seasonal periods. Next slide, please.
Sorry, Leonard, I'm just giving a 2-minute warning. Thank you.
Sure. All right. Yeah. Kind of just sharing key drivers of impact to achieve success. I think the first one I've discussed is around partnership. So really looking at building adequate partnership, both vertical and horizontal linkages on movement of learners and entrepreneurs, but also being cast in the framework of the community and what the community needs to do, and decisions and participation, but also looking at building trust, safety and protection of people, learners as they come within these entrepreneurial points, but also really building on delivering on the most within the resources available. So building synergies, who else is having what resource and how can we pool resources in the same direction? And then building agency to look at addressing the most required needs, but also making the most within the business opportunities, decision making about someone and their vision around it, but also being adaptive, including where there are various shocks coming into play. How do we ensure that we remain steadfast on achieving and tailor-making the pedagogy and learning spaces to suit the needs? Next slide, please, which I think is my last one. Just quickly, issues we faced was around really building it around commitment, understanding what are the key drivers for a person to venture into entrepreneurship. Is it their passion for it, or is it their expectation? And really addressing and managing expectations as one of the key things we faced in there. But also really investing in the trainer and the quality of the training, and allowing time to develop skills and quality of a product is key. The other thing is around really sustaining entrepreneurial ventures. If someone is doing a new business, a new skill, how does it get sustainable? And then bringing in community support, including the spouse support and accent to any business opportunity someone wants to venture in, and getting that family support as one key element. Next slide. Thank you so much. That's what I wanted to share with you from our practical experience on delivering the Team GEO Malawi project. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Leonard. That was an excellent presentation, Harold. Great. I'd like to call on our next presenter, Sajana Sunar from People in Need Nepal. And again, I would like to encourage you to use the chat box for any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Hello and namaste. Am I audible? Am I audible? Okay. Thank you so much for this space to present our presentation over here. But I'm waiting for our presentation here.
Sajana, I think it's already on the screen.
Oh, maybe it's I'm having poor network connection, so I'm going to off my camera now.
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for this space to present our project's learning. Over here, this is the background picture of Community Learning Center, where our girls are happily enrolled and learning there. Next slide, please. Thank you. So our project, this is our project overview. Our outcome first is to improve the access to literacy and numeracy courses for out of school girls. For that, we involve we work with girls and their families, and output to is to assess the life skills training, life plan coaching sessions. This is the 9-month course in Community Learning Center, where 6-month course is to provide life skills training, and we provide the coaching session, life plan coaching sessions, and we do support CAS grant and peer network support. And for this, we also engaged with family members and community people. And our outcome 3 is to assess or promote the safe enabling environment at school through gender transformative workshop. And 4 is to foster communities and local authorities to further positive social norms. For that, we engaged with local leaders, community people, religious leaders, girls and inclusive education network, insert from GIEN members and larger community networks. So in overall, we work with girls, their families, networks, community peoples, and larger community stakeholders, including local government. Next slide, please. So our project is working with the age group of 10 to 19 years, and it has transition process. Can we move ahead? Maybe I'm having, yes. So for that, first we do identify through home visit, and we do provide counseling through the community mobilizations, and we enrolled out of school girls in a community learning center in South Farm CLC. And after enrolling them in CLC, we have two transition pathway, school and technical and vocational education training TVET. And for school, 10 to 19 years, girls choose school, and there is no age limitation, though somehow some girls age between 15 to 19, they have one or two kids, or they married, they are pregnant, and they don't feel comfortable to enroll in school. So we provide opportunity, the technical and vocational education training. And we do provide life plan development workshop sessions, including life skills, literacy, and numeracy skills. And we also support them to develop their own life plan, including market assessment. For the market assessment, we do collaborate with entrepreneur people, local survey, parents interest survey, and also we do survey of emerging businesses. And then we provide them skill-based training and certification. We do collaborate with CTVT. CTVT is Council for Technical Education and Vocational Training. We provide them certification, and we, after making them skillful, we provide them cash grant support. And after providing cash grant support for the retention and sustainability of their businesses or life plan, we do tracking through longitudinal assessments. And after this assessment, we provide additional awareness and family counseling support as per the need. Next slide, please. So this all process involve inclusive and holistic approach, and we have some remarkable approaches to sustain their life plan or businesses. First one, we provide them financial literacy, business planning, decision making through the life skills workshop, so that out of school adults and girls could participate in life skills workshop. And also we engage girls in life plan coaching sessions, including their family members. And we also focused on school enrollment and livelihood opportunity. And to support livelihood opportunities, the project is supporting or developing various guidelines and checklists such as life plan coaching session guideline, transition guideline, vocational training guideline, and different checklist and quality standard checklist. And also, we conduct rapid market assessment to sustain their business in future as well. Also, we conduct short analysis during life plan development, and also we provide TVET courses, training, and vocational education training, technical and vocational education training TVET courses aligning with CTVT curriculum, which is government certified curriculum, and we offer cash grant, and we implemented monitor and longitudinal assessment, as I said or mentioned before. Next slide, please. So you can see the number of girls reached further training. We provide hand embroidery, tailoring, business skills, bangle making, doll cushion making, goat farming, engine making, and soap and detergent making, including some beautician training. So in total, I'm waiting one more picture. So all these numbers you can see over here, girls are trained and starting their own businesses, and we are tracking them through the longitudinal assessment. Next, please. So these are the voices of girls, which you can read over here. Girls are saying they are earning more than 25,000 per month, so that they are feeling valuable in their family, and they feel worthy after contributing their family businesses. They are happy to spend their own money on their child's education. They feel more valuable after learning skills, and they feel more self-confidence, and also boosted their self-esteem after learning, after having skilled. And also mayor of Maulapur municipality said that they said that we will visit Tibet girls and support whatever they need from the local government side. So local governments are also engaging with us. And next slide, please. This picture also is our girls' picture, who is starting their business, and also girls are starting their income generation activities. After this, neighbors' perspectives has also changed. They also changed their own perspective, and they also feel they have their own named after starting TV businesses and earning some amount. And yes, and now they are having change in their own perspective, that marriage and household chores are not only the destination of a girl. They can do anything they want. Yes, these are some of the visible change and voices of girls. Next slide, please. So for that visible change, we do have some best practices. We we have family engagement environment in project, so that a girl can sustain their business. And we also do collaborate with community, large community group, including local government and religious leaders and family members, community people. And we do have safety and inclusion, many stringency, safeguarding and protection aspects, so that they can feel safe in community. And advocacy for transitions, also one of the best practice. And empowerment through life skills, also one of of the best practices for all those visible changes. Next slide, please. Maybe I'm not having next slide. Am I audible?
Yes, Sajna, we can hear you. So the next slide is on challenges.
Okay, I'm not getting next slide, maybe because of my poor network connection, but I know the presentation, so I'm going to start. So our girls, we work with 10 to 19 age group girls, so that they depend on their family for the decision making process. That is become one of the challenge, but we are working closely with their families so that we are tackling this challenge. And also we provide level 1 training to our girls. Level 1 training is 319 hours training. Also local government priorities is level 1 training, so both training are level 1. So our girls are having level 1 training. This is also one of the challenge. And but lately we are doing collaboration with local government so that they could improve our get another level of training. Also tailoring is the traditional business in our context, so that we do provide other hand like god farming, doll and cushion making, hand embroidery, bangle making skills. Though tailoring is one of the traditional uh, business, most of the demand is tailoring. It is also one of the challenge. Maybe still I'm waiting for the slide. I'm not getting it. So
I think soon you should be able to see the challenges slide, but would you like me to go on to the last slide yet? Or should we stick on that one?
maybe next slide, please. I hope I can see the next slide here. Oh, thank you so much. This is the last slide. This is the picture of girls after receiving cash grant support from bank. Thank you so much for this opportunity to present our learnings and best practices. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sajna, for an excellent presentation. Super, great. So we have a few minutes left for a question and answer, and I see that Emma, you've popped something in the chat, so we'll just come to that. And conveniently, Sajna, I think it's around the challenges faced in setting up entrepreneurship activities. So what I want to ask, and we'll start with Sajna, you first, and then move to Street Business School and then Link Malawi, is that what do you wish you knew at the start that you know now? So maybe your top 1 or 2 things that you wish you knew at the start. Sajna?
I'm so sorry, I'm having poor network connection, so I have voice. I couldn't hear properly.
No
but
problem. The question is,
can I
there anything?
Answer in chat box?
Yes, please. Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Okay, Has, thank you.
No problem. Chris, can we move on to you?
Surely, thanks. I think the one thing that I wish I knew earlier on, which we had to wait for, M&E data to come and show us, was the distribution and the equity across age groups, because we hadn't ever tested that. And so that means we then hadn't customized anything around particular age groups and the results around that. So we just recently, in fact, got enough data that we've accumulated over the 7-8 years that helped us with that a little bit.
Thanks. Harold?
I think from my side, I would talk two things. One, I highlighted around clear expectations from those engaging into entrepreneurship avenues. What is it that they are expecting? Related to that is around what is their passion? What is their skill? I think it's very key that if you know what someone is, what their passion is, what their skill is, it'd be very easy to work with them around developing their skills towards that area. It would drive attendance, it would drive quality improvement, it would drive really their setting higher goals to achieve more. It will be easier to really work with them to get more forward. But in the context of high need, people were just moving into what's available to kind of have something to do. But with their passion and skills, maybe their families, their teachers, highlighting what is everyone passionate about, what are they skilled about. That will drive what scope to also do it. We integrated that towards the end, but I think much earlier, there were some of the lessons we learned along the way.
Super, thank you very much, very helpful. The next question is from Dibia. Will there be a cascading impact from projects that will bring more advantage to girls? Now, Dibia, I'm sorry, is this to any one specific project? No problem. So did you want any one particular project to respond, or should we go through all three? So it's to all three. Fantastic. Okay, great. So Harold, I can see you on screen. The question is, will there be a cascading impact from your project that will bring more advantage to girls?
There is a continuity impact through one of our partners because they already work in the areas. And there is also, we have built it within a national community development system around savings and loans. So we strengthened an ongoing system, provided learning and lessons to make it more robust, more effective. And it's being supervised by the district authorities. So we anticipate that the district authorities will pick it up from a continuing partner, Kimo Microfinance, to scale it up, depending on the results they would see as they go along. Yeah.
Super, thanks very much. Chris?
Yes, I want to acknowledge that I know people use cascading in different ways, so I hope I answer the question properly. So for cascading, for us, means that master trainer level where you can get the hundreds of thousands of girls to be impacted because you have a master trainer who can train as many trainers as they want. You can then certify trainers to train beneficiaries. So it's that multiplier effect by way of numbers of people trained that our master trainer shows the cascading effect. If we're thinking about cascading in another way, or maybe spillover or multiplier effect in a different way, I would say, for example, our RCT, showed that the curriculum was able to decrease interpartner violence, which was a little bit of a surprising finding from our RCT.
Thank you, Chris. And I know Sajna has a little bit of problems with connectivity, but Parth, I saw your hand up earlier. Did you want to come in on behalf of PIN Nepal?
Thanks, Jen. Sure, because Sajna has some issue. I'll just take a few moments to answer to both the question. So to start with Divya's answer, I mean, our approach in terms of, cascading the impact also included working with the local government and also facilitating the girls with skill certificate that the Nepal government provides. So that will give them an extra value in the local market that was there. And also, like Sajna presented, linking the market assessment and linking the girls' small businesses with this market allowed them for a circular economy kind of sustaining their own businesses, which was in a way impactful that we believe. And lastly, in addition to the skill certificate that the girls get through the government, we also facilitated them to link with the government's own skill program, meaning that they get the basics or maybe the grade 1 or 2 skills from the program but to continue on the similar entrepreneurship skills, like we link them with the government's program so that they can have more advanced courses that would eventually lift up their own businesses. So these are the few things that we believe would bring a long-term impact to the girls' own businesses and their economic sustainability. So that's for Dibyaji's questions, and I want to revisit Emma's question as well in terms of the challenges that we face, given the context and the society community that we operate. A lot of almost majority of the girls, they and the families and the communities, they are not that exposed in terms of what kind of business opportunities are out there for them to pursue. That is why at the beginning of the program, a lot of the life plans on businesses were around tailoring the traditional, let's say, the traditional skill-based planning that we received, but then like linking them with the market, having this one-on-one, one-on-one conversation with the family, and for them to understand there are more non-traditional micro-entrepreneurial, skills are out there that the girls can pursue together with the family. That's why in the later stage of the project, we started broadening our own, let's say, the life plan options for the girls and the family. So they started pursuing something that they never knew. So that was also the challenge-based learning that we got from the program. That is why, in every adaptation and in every review of the program, we kind of revisited all the challenges to ensure that all of these are somehow incorporated at the later stage of the program. So yeah, these are the responses and our experience. Thank you.
Super. Thank you very much, Parth. And I think we just have time for one last question, which is directed to Street Business School, and that's from Sharon. I believe your training model doesn't require participants to have or use startup capital/loans. Is this correct? If so, can you explain how this is possible?
Thanks. Hi, Sharon, by the way. So within our program, one of the models is called Finding Capital and Starting Small. And for us, capital is defined as me, assets, skills, and then money. So we change the mindset first of what capital is, and then we talk about how it is that a business can be started without the money component of those 4 types. If that is a way that they can proceed, we talk about how that looks, exactly what would they do, so that they don't basically continue habituating to say, I'd start a business if only I had money. We break that mindset and completely shift that to say, I can start a business with or without money. And then we talk about how they find money if they determine they need it, how they start a business if they cannot or do not have access to funds.
Great. Thanks so much, Chris. Really helpful. So that brings us right to the hour. I'd like to thank all 3 speakers today for excellent presentations. Really a lot to think about, and just celebrating the success of also what you've achieved in this area. So thank you very much. And thank you to all our participants, and I wish you a very lovely day ahead. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
everyone.